Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Dhamma of Peace Series number 9. 5 Thorns and Mindfulness Meditator. Cetokila-Satipatthana Yogi. One can face 5 kinds of thorns. In Pali, it's called Cetokila. Thorns, a sliver in flesh, a nail in the flesh. Cetokila. One can face 5 kinds of thorns that prick the observing mind on the road to liberation. The first thorn is doubting Buddha. Did Buddha really exist? Are the qualities of Buddha genuine? Are the physical attributes as graceful as described? And so on and so on. If we doubt Buddha, who taught us what we are practicing? We are doing things without confidence, saddha. And if that's the case, how can we have progressed in our practice? With that doubt we are practicing, and if there's a doubt, if there's no confidence, one will not go far. Such doubts in thoughts and in speech are a thorn in our practice. The second thorn is doubting Dhamma. Like this: I have been practicing hard, very hard, in your own perception, for sometimes with no progress. Maybe the method is incorrect or not proper. I better leave instead of wasting time. That kind of thoughts come in. For some, not only thoughts, they actually pack up their bags and leave the center, missing a great opportunity. Some people, they don't leave but keep on staying without that confidence, and simply they are wasting their time. Such kind of yogis usually have clever minds. They rationalize they perceive and they pull in their own way to prove their point or to prove what they believe. Such yogis are danger to themselves. Most people look for something or someone to blame for their failure. Whatever the case may be, not only meditation, not only Dhamma, anything, if you fail, they look for a scapegoat. Some reason, something, someone to blame for their own failure. In this case, that means the practice of the Dhamma, one lack of progress is due to widely spaced superficial observation. They are observation from one object to the other. There's a space in between, but they are not even aware of it. They think they are doing it fantastically great. But it is widely spaced. That means there's a gap in between from one object to the other. And also, their observation is not deep and penetrative enough. Superficial, just touch the surface. Such kinds of things are taking place in that kind of yogi, but in their own perception they are doing perfectly. That's why you need teachers to correct where you are lacking. Or sometimes the yogic concentrations become one-pointed, superficial, or too deep and become one-pointed and shifted into fixed concentration, samatha, away from the inside. If you shift it into the samatha zone, you will not have insight into the true nature of mind and matter. Dhamma is not to be blamed. Actually, there are some yogis who actually said, I have been practicing for how many months, how many days, how many hours? Nothing, nada. They don't right out say the practice is wrong, but you can read between the lines. That's what they intend to. But one thing to note is, many people before us had successfully practiced and passed the threshold into the domain of Ariya. They become Ariya. That's what it means. Many. So that is doubting in Dhamma. The third is doubting in Ariya Sangha, noble person. Noble person, in English, Ariya Sangha, in Pali. Noble persons have crossed the threshold of ordinary person, Puthujjana, and enter the noble domain. So they cross over from ordinary layperson Waldens into the noble domain, and that kind of person is called noble person. Even though they cross over and become a noble person, in their physical appearance, they are no different from ordinary people, just like you and me. However, their attitude towards life is quite different, and that attitude is irreversible. They are calm, tolerant, forgiving, non-conflicting, and works for others as well as their own liberation. Of course, there are 4 different levels of noble person. The lowest one may still be a little bit gruff and rough, showing some anger, showing some dissatisfaction, because anger, dissatisfaction, irritation, frustration are eliminated only at the 3rd level, non-returner. 3rd level, non-returner, anagami. The 1st and the 2nd still has such dosa, greater or lesser degree, and also sense desire, greater or lesser degree. So, the intensity and perfection of their walk and of their attitude varies with 4 different levels of attainment. Some people think there is no noble person, no such thing as Ariya. How can we believe without proof? If it is true, show yourself. There's no need to hide. Just say what it is. I am this, I am that. That kind of line of thinking arises in some people, and they don't believe in the existence of Ariya. In other words, they have doubt in Ariya Sangha. Once you got attainment, they don't practice to get attainment, to boast or to show off. The higher level you attain, the more humble you get. The higher level you attain, the more quiet they become. That is the nature. But some of us think, if you are it, say it, prove it. That's not the way it works in Dhamma. The 4th thorn is the deficiency in the 3 trainings. The 3 pieces of training for a meditator are precepts, and Pali sila. Sila, precepts. Some people translate it as morality, but precepts are a better translation for sila. And mental concentration, samadhi. And the third is wisdom, pinya. Those 3, sila, samadhi, pinya, precepts, mental concentration, and wisdom, are the keys to successful practice. Without those 3, you won't be successful. You won't get there at all. There are 3. The first one is sila. We said sila because that is a critical piece, the most important piece to start with. Let's say you are building a building, a big structure. You need a good foundation. Without a solid foundation, if you keep on building, whatever building one builds will eventually collapse and fall, sooner or later. In this mental development, bhavana, mental development, bhavana, the foundation is sila, or precepts. Without a good, solid foundation of precept, you cannot successfully build mental development. If one does not keep 5 sound precepts in daily life, that is, for lay person, householder, these lay person householders are practicing, and if they don't have a sound precept, they might build, they go up to a level and collapse. They might build, they go up to a level and collapse. Because they don't have a good foundation of 5 precepts. But if you are a practicing yogi in retreats, 5 precepts is not sufficient. One must have 8 precepts at least. 8, 9 or 10. At least 8. That is the requirement of precepts for yogis in retreat setting. And of course, for the monks, there are 227 rules. Call it Vinaya, rules and discipline. Those are the requirements. For laymen, one set. For the yogis in retreat, another set. For the monks, a different type of set. But whatever it is, whatever set it is supporting to build up the structure above it. And if without these sound precept, whatever concentration, samadhi, and wisdom, pinya, that one is developing will be unsuccessful. Or sometimes it might seem like it is going great, like a hayfire, but doesn't last long, it falls apart. Many yogis have faced that due to the lack of precepts, sound precepts. Mindfulness and concentration, sati and samadhi. Those two guard the wandering mind, the thinking mind. The probability of doing unwholesome actions, or let's call it evil, is very high with the wandering mind, with the thinking mind. Only when mindful can one direct the mind to the wholesome domain. If you are not mindful, it goes anywhere and everywhere. Mostly it is the unwholesome domains, because people love sense pleasure, and with the sense pleasure there's a lot of kilesa. Only when one is mindful, one can direct the mind to the wholesome domain, to do good things, wholesome things. Only when mindful can one direct the mind to the wholesome domain. That will be a one-line sentence that covers what we are talking. Continuous mindfulness, not just mindful for one moment or 2-3 moments. Continuous mindfulness based on the precepts with concentration and accompanied by insight, bring peace and happiness. You have all 3 pieces. First of all, foundation of precepts, and then you are being continuous mindfulness. With that continuous mindfulness, concentration comes in, because through concentration you see insight. And when you have that, one has happiness and peace. Deficiency in any of the 3 in a practicing yogi is like a thorn in the flesh. Just say, if there's a little sliver, a thorn, a wood sliver in your skin, in your flesh, no big deal, but you just can't be comfortable. That is constantly bugging you. That's why you use the one thorn in the flesh, Cetokila. It will be always nagging and bugging you. Okay, the last and the 5th one. The 5th thorn is aversion or dissatisfaction with fellow practicing yogis. It's an interesting line, but true. We have seen again and again in many retreats. A yogi develop aversion or dissatisfaction towards another or a group of yogis. Why? How can it be? We are all practicing. Okay, so let's take some case stories. Some yogis have dissatisfaction, jealousy, envy, and aversion towards the co-practitioner. But they don't even know such kind of mental state is destructive to oneself. Basically, they are destroying themselves. They are endangering themselves. In their mind, they have it, but they don't even know it. Because the tricky mind, the mind always tries to, especially the smart one, use rationalization, righteousness, and then try to see, try to feel what they are doing is correct, justified, fair. The tricky mind. Your mind can always trick you. Other people can trick you less, but you can trick yourself many times more. Some yogis make noticeable sound when they are changing their posture from the standing to sitting, sitting to standing, because they have a little weakness in their mindfulness. So when they do it quite roughly and gruffly. Because of that, quite a bit of sounds or noises comes out whenever they sit and stand. And in some cases, some yogis, they are practicing that area is, it might rain, it might sprinkle occasionally. So instead of, in their mind, instead of, I'll get a raincoat out there or an umbrella and I'll take it when it rains and so on. That is too much work. Take my mindfulness off. Take my concentration off. Okay, so what they do is, they wear a pant or a jacket, a rain gear, rain-resistant pant, rain-resistant jacket or shirt. So they don't have to put on and off. In their mind, they are saving time for more mindfulness and more concentration. But what happened was, these rain-resistant material make a lot of sound when they rub. But they are not aware of their own sound. But others who are sitting there, they can hear that sound very well. It's quite irritating. Because these noises and these sound disturb yogis who are in a relatively good concentration zone. But not once or twice. Once or twice you note it and it's gone. But this one is every time, every hour, every day. So after about 3-4 days, it becomes an annoyance and they began to develop aversion towards that yogi. The other one don't even know. But this one is, you are having aversion in your practice, and how can you have a good, successful practice? That's one case. Let's go another case. Let's take it out. Walking meditation. Yogis are doing a walking meditation. They have their own paths. But some yogis, they don't pay much attention. They cut across another person's walking path. Of course, to cut across, they have to move a little faster than the one who is on the path. Or they might pass by really quickly. They don't cut across, just beside it. Zip, zip, zip. Again, relative, of course. They thought, oh, if I go there, I won't stop. It is just a short little period. And then quicken the pace. And the one who is properly focusing with proper pace become disturbed. It is an inappropriate action that the person took. But that inappropriate action falls squarely on the shoulders of the one who is doing. Not on you. Your aversion to their behaviors and their manners result in the occurrence of the mental defilements in you. You become angry or irritated or agitated. What an inconsiderate person. Don't they know this is a retreat? Don't they know how to behave? That is aversion. And that aversion nobody knows, only you yourself is experiencing and suffering. And your progress stops. Another case scenario, because I'm giving quite a few because these occur quite often in many yogis in retreats. When people are in retreat, they have to report. Every day they have to report their daily progress or daily practice. Whether there's progress or not doesn't matter, but must report whatever they experience in the 24 hours. As there are quite a few yogis that the teacher bunched them in a group of 3 or a group of 2 to report together. In that way, when one's reporting, the other 2 can listen. So they even have a lot more information. That is how the system is. But when a hard-working yogis report their progress, the others who have no progress feel jealous and think these guys are boasting or even lying, bullshitting. That kind of thoughts come in. Because you have none and the other was really progressing quite fast. So they are boasting or lying. Lying means you are not really reporting what you experience. You are reporting what you have read or heard. That kind of mind goes in. These yogis, they fail to see their own progress. They fail to see their lack of required effort. And they have aversion inside them. And that is a thorn in the flesh of the practicing yogi. Also, it can happen in the fruit collecting line. Some yogis, we all lined up and one's collecting, the other has to wait, but the eyes just wander around and see one yogi is collecting a lot of food that he likes more. In the mind, oh, he's greedy, not mindful. There you go, there's a judgment. That's mental defilement. Or in some big retreat center, the yogis in the front pick up all the good pieces, and the one at the later doesn't have much left or bones left. And they will say, oh, these guys are inconsiderate, blah, 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 and so on. That is how one can develop aversion. And that aversion is destructive to yourself. Of course, the teachers can size up when yogis have one or more of these 5 thorns based on their behaviors, tone, and style of reporting. The teacher will correct the yogis gently as best as they can. And also they will correct the other yogis who transgressed without pointing finger directly, but in a gentle manner, still passing the message. What they have transgressed is wrong and should stop doing it. Without personalizing it, they will talk about it quite often in the Dhamma talk, so that no one feels that they have been picked upon. If you listen carefully, if you are mindful at the Dhamma talks, you will hear loud and clear what to correct, what to stop, what to develop. So, try your best not to have the 5 thorns when you are in retreats, when you are practicing intensively, so that you may have sound precept, concentration, and insight, and attain liberation as soon as possible. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much.